Kia ora, I'm Miriam Makamo. What would you do if you thought you had to break the law to save your child's life? That's the dilemma facing the parents of little Paige Galene. She's the first child in New Zealand to be allowed to use a cannabis extract for a rare and severe form of epilepsy. But some doctors are worried this treatment has never been tried before. They say there is another cannabis extract that may have fewer side effects. The problem is, it's illegal. Now, just a warning, some of the images are confronting. Ian Sinclair with a story.
She suddenly just goes, she shakes her whole body. It's like running a marathon for the poor wee thing.
11-year-old Paige Galene is in the grip of a seizure.
She goes blue around the mouth, stops breathing, goes unconscious.
And all her parents can do is watch.
Nearly 1 o'clock. She just had a big one.
The cause, Dravet syndrome, an extreme and lethal form of epilepsy.
How many times a night does that happen?
About 15, roughly.
Yeah, it's like having a baby where you're up all night just on and off, and you sleep when you sleep, and yeah, it's just become normal life, you know.
But it wasn't always like this. When Paige was first born, she was a normal, happy baby.
She was about 6 months old, and she was just lying underneath one of those play things on the floor, and she just started shaking, and she went into a status seizure for her first one for 45 minutes.
So this just came from nowhere?
Yep, nowhere. As soon as we got to the hospital, I thought there was definitely something wrong. Going into resus, I thought, oh well. She just, yeah, they just all took over. The doctors and everything just took over, and yeah, just had to stand back, unfortunately, and watch. It was just horrible. Couldn't do anything. Nothing at all.
You know, Paige has been on life support 5 times, where they actually, so that in the early days they were drugging her to the point where she stopped breathing, and then
intubated her.
You'd have 4 or 5 doctors around her and being wheeled off to
ICU.
Yeah, intensive care, and that's not a pretty sight. Yeah.
Doctors prepared Kelly and Brent for the worst.
We got put into a room saying, you know, the doctors are doing as much as they can. We'll let you know how we get on. And yeah, that was horrific. That was just awful.
Paige survived, but a decade on and life for the Galenes is about managing Dravet.
Good kill.
Every new day with Paige is a blessing.
What's on your socks? Oi.
Mommy,
What's on your socks?
nothing.
Good girl.
The toll of her seizures, brain damage, and even death.
The information the doctor gave at the time was that she probably wouldn't live past 9 or 10.
That's green.
Watch what you're doing, please. Watch.
The seizures are slowly sending her backwards. Her mental age now is about 3 years old.
Wait, I'm good.
Are you fine, are you? She can't talk properly. She's, gosh, what is?
Fine
Five
motor
motor
skills.
skills, yeah. She can't feed herself properly. She had trouble walking.
Is he coming with us?
Have a nice day. She can't write her name. She can't draw.
You know, it's like a little girl trapped in a kid's body, and it's only going to get harder as she gets older.
And she's on medication now, isn't she?
She is, yes.
And what effect is that medication having?
Absolutely nothing. She's on 4 different pharmaceutical medication and doing nothing.
So Brent searched the internet to find Paige a better treatment. What he turned up was radical, medicinal cannabis.
I was just flicking through my Facebook and somebody had posted the CNN article that they'd done on Charlotte Figgy.
Charlotte, a little girl in Colorado fighting Paige's battle.
And it was like, my God, she's got exactly the same as Paige. She's got Dravos.
Yeah, Kiwi.
Charlotte's astonishing transformation came after treatment with cannabis extract.
Good job.
An oil now called Charlotte's Web.
And the footage of her being pretty much wheelchair bound, not interacting at all, to up dancing around and happy as Larry. You know, just a normal little kid again blew me away.
The question, could Charlotte's Web save Paige?
Thought, well, what do we got to lose? It worked for Charlotte, nothing else is working, so let's start down this road.
Charlotte's specialist, Dr. Alan Shackelford, agrees Charlotte's Web may well be the answer for Kiwi children like Paige.
I don't think there's any question that cannabis is worth trying in conditions or in individuals who have seizures that don't respond to conventional pharmaceutical treatments.
Unlike New Zealand, medicinal cannabis is legal in Colorado. Nevertheless, like most doctors, he had reservations about prescribing cannabis to a child.
And we had no other options. I felt that Charlotte would probably die if we didn't intervene and use cannabis to treat her seizures.
But what's really important to understand is that this cannabis for Dravet isn't the type to get you high. That's because it's low in the ingredient that gets you stoned, called THC. But what it does have a lot more of is another component called CBD, and that's known as cannabidiol.
The cannabis variety that we use to treat seizures is very high in cannabidiol and very low in THC.
So what Paige's parents wanted was a cannabis that was high in CBD and low in THC, like Charlotte's Web. But this is a country where cannabis is illegal.
When we put the application in, we were told it'd be refused.
But it wasn't. They got approval to use a cannabis extract called Sativex, already prescribed for treating multiple sclerosis.
One of the reasons they put it forward was she has tried every possible drug.
But Sativex is different from Charlotte's Web, the one designed for Paige's syndrome Dravet. Different, yes, but still the family are ready to give it a go.
I think it's pretty historical.
Gotta give it some hands.
But will Sativex help or will it harm? Next up, a bold experiment begins.
We know that those side effects can be pretty substantial.
And the mother who's had to go underground to save her daughter.
My advice would be not to do what I did.
Play that one.
11-year-old Paige Galene has been chosen for a bold experiment.
Here we go, the box of Sativex.
Sativex, a cannabis extract. Her family are hoping this could be her salvation.
Controlled drug. This is another unproven drug for Paige, but it's the only legal version of medical marijuana we can get in New Zealand.
Paige is the first child in New Zealand to be prescribed cannabis extract for Dravet syndrome. And this is the moment that could change everything.
Well done.
Kelly, you'd get your daughter back.
I would. Never seen her. We've never seen that side of things, you know. This is the way she is. I mean, we've understood that's Paige. Good girl.
Sativex was already approved for adults with multiple sclerosis and chronic pain, but it's never been trialled or tested for children with Dravet syndrome.
Good girl. Now,
That's a big step, isn't it?
It is.
How would you justify that?
I guess it's the weight of what she is now. You know, she's got the age of a 2 to 3 year old, she's going to be dependent on the health system for the rest of her life. If there was side effects, there's side effects of every drug. And it's just weighing up those risks.
Do you have concerns about that?
I do, and I'm sure...
Children's Commissioner Dr Russell Wills says his worry for Paige is THC, the cannabis compound that can get you high.
Come on, please.
The international experience from Drave's parents suggests that Sativex may have too much THC in it. Because we know what the effects of THC are, and we know that those side effects can be pretty substantial.
THC side effects can include sedation and hallucinations, and experience has shown Dravet syndrome sufferers mostly need that other ingredient called CBD.
A better option might be a higher proportion of CBD and less of THC.
And that's the formula in Charlotte's Web, named after the little American girl who got amazing results with it. She too, like Paige, had Dravet. But Charlotte's Web, with its low THC, hasn't been approved for New Zealand, which is why one Kiwi mum is making it herself.
That's when you get desperate and...
We can't identify this mother of a 16-year-old girl with Dravet because desperation has driven her underground.
How much life expectancy did the doctors give your daughter?
They didn't know, but months, maybe a few years. You think, wow, what do you do? Do you sit down and, do you give your child a joint to smoke?
By researching the internet, she found that wasn't necessary. She could make her own Charlotte's Web as an oil, but she would have to break the law.
So that's where I sought support from other Dravet parents on where to start, how to go about making it.
One person she told, the Children's Commissioner, because he's her daughter's paediatrician.
So this was not a decision undertaken lightly. And so my job really is to make sure they're clear about the risks of this. We don't know what the side effects of this are yet. I'm clear with them that what they're doing isn't legal, and that creates a real risk for them as parents.
And with mortar and pestle, she demonstrates how she transformed from mum to cannabis oil manufacturer, armed with the know-how.
What sort of plant I needed to access, what sort of leaf, what was the safest way to prepare it, who would I approach to test it, what level of ratio of CBD to THC would I need.
How is she now?
She's amazing. Now she has over a 50% reduction in seizures, which for someone who suffered from hundreds and hundreds a day, that's huge. The larger, more damaging convulsing seizures, she hasn't had any for 6 months.
And she's speaking.
She had no speech for many years, and any time she would get some speech, she'd have a series of quite bad seizures and lose it. So it's great to hear her being cheeky. Life's great. Yeah, I can see a future for her now.
For this girl, the remarkable thing is that the change has been sustained over months now. She hasn't been this well for this long, for a long time. So it's not proof, it's not research, but certainly for her, she is the best she's been in a very long time.
And in Israel, that research is already underway with clinical trials.
For you, for him.
Driven by American Dr. Shackelford, the pioneer of Charlotte's Web.
I think that people in New Zealand are going to be grateful, and people in every country where we can do this. It's really fantastic. It's not a scenario of go get some pot and try it and let me know what happens. This is going to be legitimate results from legitimate studies that will allow the doctors to have something on which to hang their hats if they elect to use it.
And this, says Dr. Wills, is the way New Zealand should be going.
I don't think we have sufficient evidence to warrant treatment here. I think we have sufficient evidence to warrant enrolling children in an international study. But unfortunately, children in New Zealand can't be part of that at the moment, and I think that's a shame.
Why not?
Because it's illegal, and you can't study an illegal substance. I welcome the opportunity to talk to MedSafe and the Minister about this.
Mr Dunn,
But from Wellington, the signs aren't promising for the Galeens.
Associate Health Minister Peter Dunn refused to appear on camera. All he would say was that he had no objection to the use of Sativex as a medicinal cannabis extract. So what then about Charlotte's Web? That's still illegal here. Would he approve that for trials? On that, he would make no comment.
So for Paige's parents, Sativex is their only legal option. A week into treatment with Sativex, she hasn't had a seizure for 3 days.
I think the seizures are hard to tell. We think they're reduced.
Yeah, she just used to jerk all the time.
Rainbow.
When she's sitting on your lap, you could just feel her whole body twitching. She's completely stopped.
Her speech is a bit clearer and she's listening better and heaps more energy.
Energy at a price, $1,000 a month for a drug they fear may have serious side effects, compared with the underground mum, who's spending $40 a month on a version of Charlotte's Web they believe is far more effective and safer.
Yeah, I guess what she's doing is what we'd like to be able to do.
Paige, look, I have something for you.
This mother may have broken the law,
Do you think I can get a hug?
but in the Galeens' opinion, she did it for her daughter.
Just amazing results. I mean, wheelchair bound, everything. And then now she's walking, yeah.
The question confronting the Galeens, if Sativex doesn't work, will they also switch to Charlotte's Web, the illegal option?
Would you break the law?
Oh, I'd definitely do it. If Sativex did not work for Paige, and if it was a fact that we would have to go down the illegal side of things, I'd do it for my wee girl.
Now, there is a glimmer of hope for Paige and other children with Dravet syndrome. MedSafe is backing Dr. Wills's call for Kiwi kids to be included in clinical trials overseas. But it notes final approval will have to come from the Health Minister. So we'll keep you posted.